I'm going to talk about concerns over Indonesian educational system, which may not necessarily only for Indonesian people, but for some other nations, some other people, Indonesian neighbors or from far away who are concerning about this, and besides also trying to develop some possible educational system in Indonesia, in information technology, in computer science, in whatever, and especially in English. Because in a global system, right now we have exchange open market system. There have been lots and lots of opportunity for international people to get engaged, to work in Indonesia as well, and to teach in Indonesian school. Now, I've known Dr. Mangunsong, whom you listened this morning, long time ago in the University of Indonesia, because she was my senior, my mentor during my student years, and then she was the head of the crisis center in the University of Indonesia several years ago, and then she dealt with a lot of crises in Indonesia, the land with various crises, social crisis. I'm from Tarumanagara University. I graduated from the University of Indonesia, and then I worked for the Tarumanagara University, the private university, and I developed psychology over there. Yet I'm also setting up the psychological educational program for private universities, and also in the Indonesian Psychological Association. Now, some of our concerns about education in Indonesia is about these children. You see, this is the public school, Indonesian public school, in their uniform, white and red and no shoes. You see that? Now that's the uniform. Not in urban, not in big cities, but in many places, I won't say remote areas, but also in suburbs, close to the main cities. This is not because they are having sport or having fun with no shoes, but because they cannot buy shoes. All right, this is concerns over Indonesian educational system, how you can think about going to school without shoes. Well, Indonesia is warm country. You don't really need shoes probably to go to school. That's going to be fine. Anyway, this is the National Standard Education Board of Indonesia. They consider that Indonesian education, they themselves consider the Indonesian educational system have low quality of educational facilities, low quality teachers, low salary teachers, low achievement students, unequal opportunity to study, non-relevant education, and high educational cost. I'm not saying this. This is the national standard. So I just copy what they said. The question is, if they're aware of this, why don't they do something in dealing with this, to respond of this issue? What is the low quality of educational facilities? Refer to the fact that approximately 40 to 45% classrooms are in good conditions. The rest are need special attention, consists of approximately 30% less appropriate and 25% in bad conditions. You see that's the classroom? This is probably good classroom. This is not too bad. There are even worse classroom in Indonesia. I'm not talking about the remote areas. I'm not talking about disastrous area. There are lots of disastrous area. There are lots of remote areas in Indonesia. But this is quite regular. This is how some people going to school. Now, fun, isn't it? Self-regulated learning, as Dr. Mangunsong, Professor Mangunsong mentioned, self-regulated learning in class, self-regulated learning in English standard. I think they have done self-regulated learning to live. This is self-regulated. They have to do this. So, are they going to be academician, or are they going to be acrobatics? They're very expert on doing this. This is every day. We probably cannot do this. Students do this, the teachers won't do that. Some teachers do, but most of the teachers, they won't do that. Who are the teachers who want to do this? Voluntarily, teachers. They who want to help students, and most of them unpaid. Those who are paid, they don't want to do this. So, this is even worse. It's serious. We are talking about, this is the Asian Conference of Educational, of International Development. How international is this? This is very international, isn't it? It's a very international, what do we need to develop internationally? Well, we need to develop the international trapeze student. They have good in physical education. They're supposed to be very good in physical education, right? But our sport, our athletes, our Indonesian athletes are not good anymore. I used to handle Indonesian athletes. I used to handle the badminton. I used to handle the boxing, the amateur boxing. We got the most we got in Southeast Asian Games, 6 classes boxing. 6 out of 12 classes of boxing. We had number 3 world championship in archery. We had ATP ladies number 19. We won several badminton championships. No more right now. But there are lots of candidates for athletes, physical education. We don't provide physical education in school, not enough. This is the low quality teachers. 14% elementary teachers with academic level graduates. 40% middle school teachers having bachelor's degree. Now, what about the rest? Well, the rest we don't know. 40% high school teachers having master's degree. What about the 60%? I don't know. And in universities, there are 20% teachers with master's degree and 3.5% teachers with doctoral degree. Very low. And we have lots of universities. This is low salary teachers. We're talking about low salary teachers. Approximately average take-home pay teachers in Indonesia are in the range of $150 per month. That's not enough to stay in this hotel per night. They need to have additional job or personal business, often interrupt their regular teaching activities, and this is their house. And this is, I get it from PT Pusat Penerangan Terkini, that is the recent central information on February 10th, 2015, and this is the inappropriate housing for teachers. This is teachers' housing. Most teachers, you want to be teachers in Indonesia? But there are many teachers in Indonesia. There are many international teachers in Indonesia with high salary. This is public teachers. There are many international private teachers in Indonesia, private school teachers in Indonesia, English speaking, or German speaking, or French speaking, Filipinos, Singaporeans, Thais. There are lots of them, high salary. This is for Indonesian teachers. What I found ridiculous at this very moment is, Even in the university level, they are talking about entrepreneurial. They keep talking about entrepreneurial. That's more like business. Selling something, selling teaching materials to students. Even some university teachers, they have courses, they cut off some courses, they use the cutting off courses to teach students and request students to pay additional. For example, in psychotherapy, I teach psychotherapy. In psychotherapy, there are kind of numbers of therapy. There are family therapy, there are art therapy, there are many kind of therapy. And some teachers, probably teaching psychotherapy, they don't provide the family therapy, and then they provide family therapy during the weekends, ask the students to pay $350 per student for family therapy, additional teaching. The unethical aspect emerged because of the entrepreneurial education. No, you want to teach or you want to be entrepreneur? I don't know. It's not bad to be entrepreneur, but people may not supposed to be teaching in the university, teaching at school. On the other hand, if they are not becoming entrepreneur, how are they going to live with that kind of housing? So some teachers are selling ramen noodles on the street, or becoming taxi cab driver, not taxi, we call it, it's motorcycles. If a teacher is entrepreneur, what kind of teaching philosophy does he or she have in transforming education to the student? Entrepreneurial or educational? This is another thing in a developing country. Indonesia is one of developing country. I cannot really say it's poor country because we have the most requested Range Rover, ordered Range Rover. My friend works for the Range Rover car in the world. And then we have Rolls Royce, we have Mercedes Benz, a lot. But we have that kind of teachers' housing. So this is the low achievement. After A, the reading ability of Indonesian elementary school students to understand reading materials is on the range of 30%, far below Hong Kong, Singapore, and the Philippines elementary students. This is from, I didn't create this data, this is from the educational data. Top ranked universities in Indonesia are on the range of rank 60, 70 in 77 Asian universities. Number one is probably Tokyo University, and then Kyoto. And then there are National University of Singapore, Beijing University. Used to be the Institute Technology Bandung, used to be number 39 in Asia. My university, Tarumanegara, none. Not in the rank. I think Universitas Indonesia is 69. In the range of University of Indonesia is 69. Private universities are not included in the rank of Asian universities, despite of our numbers of students. The University of Tarumanegara having 16,000 active students, 1,500 psychology students. Indonesian students are on the lowest rank in math and science in Southeast Asian countries. We hate statistics. We just don't like statistics and methodology in psychology. When a professor of statistics methodology came in a class, in the room, oh, students going berserk. And then unequal opportunity to study, merely 50%. Students have the opportunity to go to school, and more than 90% children are now can have elementary school education. Preschool program are still very limited. So many students are very limited. We want to talk about international development. How international are we international? We are international market. You can get anything in Indonesia. We are the greatest market right now, probably in the world, from car to narcotics. I'm serious. It's big concern right now. Car and airplane, even there are some conflicts between American and Russian investment. Recently, the greatest investors in Indonesia, I think German, and in a few more years, Japanese will invest a lot. Concerns over Indonesian educational program are also related to the fact that graduates are having lack of knowledge and limited skill, resulting high unemployment rate on graduates. 25 to 30% graduates are unemployed, despite of job opportunities are increased in the range of 50% per year. The opportunities are increased, but the employment decreased. And why? Because high cost education refers to school tuition from 50 to 100, even 500 US dollars on government school. Low salary people cannot provide education for their children. So what do? No school, work, make money, becoming entrepreneur. The fact is there are lots of entrepreneurs didn't go to school. That's what they do. The solution, this is the offer of the solution. The systemic and technical alternative solutions being offered on those issues are too theoretical and idealistic. We cannot expect family to join international standard education to their students because the families right now even don't understand about iPad. They don't understand about handphone. They don't know how to block the pornographic thing on their children. 5 years old, clicking on iPhone, there are lots of pornographic movies. And they are busy with that. Now who is going to check it? The teachers? Well, teachers probably get interested on that. Systemic solution refers to expectation that the government finance the education entirely, thus people do not have to pay for the minimum education. Well, expectedly the government finance entirely, but from where? Where's the source of financing all the education of Indonesia while we are having financial problem as well? The government has to take care many things, not only education. Defense system, internal ministry, external affairs, agriculture, and so forth. And we are having low oil prices problem right now, and gas. In the meantime, the president of Indonesia probably just returned from Japan. We work together. We will be working together for industrial and defense system. Indonesia and Japan. And this is the technical solution refers to expectation that teachers must improve their personal qualification in teaching and education. We don't have the standard. America has a standard to be teacher. And I believe in Japan as well. We don't have it in Indonesia. You graduate from university, you can teach. It's easy. Indonesian teacher get lower salary. When you are Caucasian, you get higher salary, very high. And non-Caucasian but international, whether from Singapore, from the Philippines, as long as you can speak English, you got higher salary. Now the problem is, the public school, the Minister of Education, before this, not this one, before this, disallow English at school. They abandoned English at school. I learned English on elementary school. I don't quite remember whether 5th grade or 6th grade. But right now, recently, no English in public school. Their English program in private elementary school. And even not only English, also German and French, multilingual. Indonesia used to be colonized by the Dutch, and the Dutch is a multilingual nation. So there are some schools, my high school provide also German and French. And I took not only English but also German. But that's extracurricular. English is a part of the educational system for private schools. Public school, recently they abandoned English. I don't know about the policy of this new Minister of Education. So the concern is the monthly salary, 150 US dollars. Indonesia has entered a period of global market area, at least in Southeast Asia. The national standard quality of education is now becoming insufficient to produce qualified professionals, employees, workers, and laborers. Financial issues remain central and perhaps endless in Indonesian educational system. International qualification will never be achieved without international standard of communication instrument. Now, English is the most usable language in the world. Libraries in Indonesian universities consist large numbers of English text, and I'm in psychology. 90% of psychological books, they are in English. And if students elementary school, they cannot learn English, when do they have to start learning English to understand books in psychology, books in economics, books in technology, books in architecture and medical doctors? Many university students then going abroad take program in the United States, in the United Kingdom, in Australia. University students are expected to be able to communicate in English. However, only a small percentage of students and university teachers can pass the English as a second language exam, even the university. TOEFL is supposed to be 550, and IELTS supposed to be at least 6.5, not quite 7. But maybe only 2–3% teachers in the University of Indonesia can pass that score. So this indicates that Indonesian institutions have not really been prepared to deal with international standard of education. I was asked by the head of the university, I was ever being the head as well, but I was asked the standard giving English course, delivering courses in psychology in English. Well, it's easier for me because I learn psychology in English rather than in Indonesian. Now the problem is the students are not ready and the rest of the teachers are unprepared for such kind of courses. That is a problem. While social media does not motivate students to read more Indonesian texts such as Indonesian literature, and library facilities are not supporting to students, teachers tend to demotivate rather than motivating students to learn Indonesian language. So most of the texts are in English, and we are talking about developing Indonesian language. There are not enough texts in Indonesian language. So this is what happened. This is the Minister of Indonesia right now, Dr. Anies Baswedan. He graduated from Purdue. Is that Purdue? Purdue or Illinois State University. He was a rector of a private university. And he said it would be better for the Department of Education to pay more attention on improving the quality of the teaching ability among the Indonesian language teachers. We are not yet talking about English. Even the Indonesian language teachers are not well standardized. We are having problems with Indonesian language in the university. So what we have to do is improving the teaching methodology, improving the educational environment, not letting the students become the physical trapeze. This happened to be what we do in Tarumanegara. This is my university, Tarumanegara. We provide training for trainers. We have to train teachers over and over and over again, from time to time. Okay, now this is the program on 2009. And we have to provide, this is very expensive. In order to standardize nationally, very expensive, providing with educational facilities with computer like this. It's easy to buy a computer. It's difficult to operate. We are not having appropriate operator. Are these function very well? Not really. They just look nice. So, we probably want to provide appropriate reading materials, national foreign language and verbal and pictorial illustrated materials. We need to provide student and student interaction. Like Professor Mangunsong said, we are not get used to deliver education in discussion. We get used to deliver education in one-way instruction, memorizing everything, and suddenly the computer in your brain doesn't have enough space anymore. And then you forget everything, you mixed up everything, you cannot use it in the society, you cannot function it well, you become depressed, and you go to the psychiatric hospital. And you have psychiatric babies. And there is Dr. Nagao over there, the child psychiatrist, handling the depression. So, providing student interactive learning program, this is what we haven't done. We don't do it in Indonesia. We are talking about international standard of education. We don't do it in Indonesia, except for private school, not public school. Public school don't do this. Social applications, providing student interactive activity program. They said this kind of activity is spending too much time for nothing. So numbers of artistic activity, physical activities are reduced. They learn more and more math, language, yet they still unable to construct good language. Providing student-teacher interactive learning program. I wonder if the teacher wants to interact with the students. Normally after or during break time, teachers get together, they are talking about themselves, they are talking about their concern about the family, about the salary range, $150 per month. It's not enough, and what do we have to do? How do they think about their students? This is the interaction triangle. Teacher-student interaction, encourage the child's strengths, don't dwell on his weakness. We tend to dwell on students' weakness. This can be difficult as their strengths are outside of the traditional educational system. Now, we have the competence exam for teachers, but mostly below standard, below the cutoff score of 70, mostly. This is the aim. Types of examination, methods of examination, the written, but the data indicates below 70. The language is the key, the communication is necessary. We don't really provide language, interactive language communication. That's what we don't do it. And sadly speaking, the Minister of Education previously abandoned English in public school. Only private schools provide English and other kind of language. Well, communication is necessary in many social interactive way. Junior and senior teachers need to exchange teaching experiences. There are lots of trainings. There are limited numbers of financial resources for teachers to increase their talent. This kind of Congress is very important for teachers in many nations, but in Indonesia, none get support. Unless the rich teacher, they want to come to this kind of Congress, they have to provide by their own money. Not the school, not the university. Very rare, if there is any. And provide training and workshops. Of course, we know about this, providing academicians to join international gatherings to expand perception. This is the only possible way that we gather our perception, exchange our ideas, exchange our concept, concerns. What do we have to do in a national standardizing education to deliver understanding about human life? And this is the place for us to share experience, to qualify and being unified, while you probably can also enjoy the friendships and seasons in Sakura blossoming time. Sakura has not really bloomed right now, and right at the end of this Congress, you will enjoy the Sakura blooming all the way the Ogawa River here. From here to Temabashi to Kyobashi, all the way to Kyoto, you will see Sakura. That's about it. Thank you for your attention.